Chris and Sarah, recovery crews returned to the frigid waters this afternoon, but still have no signs of the two men or the canoe. These 792 panels are available for a one-time payment of $950 for a 20-year lease, but it could take more than 14 years to generate enough electricity to see a return on that investment. Sarah, the scene here is now the site of a homicide investigation. We now know the name of the suspect, but police say there's a reason we don't know who the victim is. Eau Claire firefighters are still battling flames after a fire broke out here on Main Street. A tank transporter will be used to pull the bulldozer out. Right now they're cutting a trench through the ice more than 600 feet out to where the bulldozer is. Neighbors, friends, and family are digging through the debris to find anything of value or personal items. The DNR suggests removing food sources like bird feeders and garbages to keep them away and to keep your distance, which is what I'm going to do. Even though overall Postal Service usage is down, political mail is seeing an all-time high, with more than 2 billion campaign ads reaching our mailboxes. Police say Schuler forged a signature on her background check to get her daycare license and could now face up to 3 years in prison. Diseases from any wild animal contact are a big concern. Police say to keep animals out of your dumpster, make sure the lid's completely closed, or better yet, locked, and wait until pickup day to take out the trash. As a Liberian diplomat, Patrick Sawyer was on a mission to help his home country, sacrificing time away from his wife DeConte and their 3 young daughters in Coon Rapids.
He goes, I'm doing this for us and I have to do this. And so I supported him, and it was hard.
Things got harder. Earlier this year, Ebola hit West Africa, where Patrick had been working.
I really didn't understand how serious it was.
In July, DeConte came to understand the disease all too well when Patrick's sister died without warning. And 2 weeks later, a series of phone calls changed her life.
She called back not too long ago and said, yeah, he's definitely in Nigeria. He's definitely in the hospital being quarantined, and they're thinking he may have Ebola. The phone call woke me up at 3 a.m. And that's when they told me that he died.
2 months have passed, and a memorial service was held last Saturday in Patrick's honor.
Rest in perpetual peace, my baby boy.
It's not the first time DeConte has felt such pain. She escaped Liberia's civil war at a young age, but her uncle and other loved ones did not.
The Ebola crisis reminds me of that. Like, it takes me back to the Civil War times, because it's the same being here, hearing about what's going on back home, losing loved ones. I lost my husband, losing other family members, and hearing the cries, hearing the stories. But the only difference this time is that I'm not that 11-year-old girl that was helpless and then couldn't do anything. I can do something now. I can fight back. I can be a part of the solution.
In a war that cannot be won with guns or bombs, DeConte is fighting with words and gloves. After the service, she launched the Kofa Foundation to offer protective materials and education to Liberians and counseling for grieving families here.
We need to come together as a global community and work together on eradicating Ebola.
We want to reach out to those families and say, we're with you. We hear you, we see you, we are you, and that it's okay to get help.
I noticed this one couple out there, they were having a lot of fun, and then all of a sudden I see him fall forward. His wife catches him, she can't hold him up, and he just goes down.
Tim collapsed and went into sudden cardiac arrest right there on the dance floor.
During the last song of a summer concert at the Coon Rapids Dam Regional Park, a select few in the crowd turned their attention away from the band on stage.
People looked at him, turned away, continued dancing, continued on their way, or got out of the area.
Mitzi Keller and her boyfriend Scott Madsen did not.
I got up and I went over to see if he was okay, if he was breathing, if he could find a pulse or whatever, and she said no, and then so I immediately went off to the side to call 911.
I'm thinking, this guy's not going to make it if you don't get an AED.
Madsen went to find an automated external defibrillator, or AED. Jennifer Fritz and Mark Snell went to 65-year-old Tim Buck on the ground and used training they received through the Coon Rapids Heart Safe program to give him CPR.
And they remembered their training and they stuck to their training, and they gave him compression-only CPR, which is the right thing to do.
Tim Buck was clinically dead, but those compressions providing oxygen to his brain along with shocks from the AED saved his life. He needed a quadruple bypass surgery the next day, but with little pain is now on the road to recovery.
A lot of people would ask me, did you see the light on the other side? I said, no, I didn't see no light, but I only said as doctors when I got up, and I said that was quite interesting because, yeah, it was unbelievable.
Every day from here on out is a day that typically 90% of the time, or 95% of the time, that this man wouldn't have had.
I could easily have been on the other side and stuff, so I'm just real thankful for that and all the people that were there at the right time, at the right moment. Otherwise, I was history, so I thank God for that.
I had a gut feeling.
Scott Moldenhauer says he knew something odd was going on when no one had heard from his friend Brian Helgeson for about a week.
Not like him to just disappear.
With Brian's son on the run, then arrested last night, word from the Sheriff's Department today confirmed Scott's biggest fear.
Unfortunately, we received information, and then we also recovered remains yesterday of a person on the property to believe to be Brian.
I don't understand. I don't know how something like this could happen.
With help from bloodhounds and witnesses, investigators dug to find a body they think is Brian.
We do have to do some more work on properly, taking care of the identification. That's why we say believed to be Brian. We're currently still at the scene collecting evidence.
With a court case for Lars Helgeson pending, Scott reflected on his friend.
Well, Brian, like myself, is a biker, but he is so far from the image of being a biker. You know, very true-hearted. More than happy to give people rides on his trike, kind of a happy-go-lucky guy. And he was Brian. There was no way around it. And that trike, you always knew it was him when he rolled in.
With Brian's wheels no longer turning, Scott is now faced with a grim reality.
It's very difficult to even think that somebody could do this to him.
We've been provided with some possible motives, but nothing that we've been able to confirm at this point.
What is he thinking? What's the drive to take someone else's life? I don't care about how. That doesn't matter. Brian's gone. The biggest thing would be to know why. Gonna miss him. He's a great brother.
No court dates for Lars have been set. Investigators say criminal charges could be filed in the next few days.